insight into a few of the trends that we're seeing within the crimes that my team is investigating. So what I'm going to do is provide a little bit of insight and some context to that, highlight some of the good work that is being done in an attempt to just kind of show you how impactful these types of crimes are across the spectrum for all of our citizens, Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So, and after I get done with that, I'm going to turn it over to Detective Tawana Garrison, where she's going to provide some prevention techniques and methods that will be helpful to help mitigate this crime. Beginning with within the area of identity theft, which is a bulk of what we address within our team, we're seeing two new emerging trends. The first one is associated with the online auto theft purchase process. I'm sure you all are aware that there's many platforms that are out there, or applications that are out there in which citizens, customers can obtain vehicles online with very, very limited contact with the actual vendors, which provides multiple avenues for fraudulent activity and with limited controls in place on behalf of the customers. So that is something that is relatively new in the arena of financial crimes. This is, as technology changes and evolves and the economy continues to change, that's an area that we're having to adapt to. And so we wanted to provide a little context in that and the things that we're seeing and trying to address. The second thing that we are seeing an increase in the actual method in which identity theft is taking place is the use of stolen identities to obtain benefits associated with the CARES Act, meaning all of the benefit instruments that came with that, the SBA loans, anything associated with the Payment Protection Plan, and also a lot of unemployment insurance benefits, in which were intended to support our community or the entire United States related to the global pandemic, but fraudsters are taking an opportunity to use that for themselves. So we're seeing that as a growing trend within identity theft. And so we wanted to kind of put that to the viewers, the citizens, to be on the lookout for things like that. This is something that this time last year we were not having to combat or address, and now we are. So, and again, I'll let Detective Garrison talk about the ways that we can address that from a preventative manner. Related to those two things, identity theft and the way that this can be impactful for our citizens, is I want to provide an incident in which our team conducted an investigation. So on April 20th of 2020, CMPD Financial Crimes Unit arrested Jamel Deshae Johnson while he was applying for a $10,000 loan at the Charlotte Metro Credit Union on Ashley Road. The arrest and the subsequent investigation revealed Johnson's involvement in multiple other identity theft cases related to personal and auto loan theft. Johnson, along with his co-conspirators, engaged in bank loan scheme involving the use of personally identifying information of identity theft victims. Acquiring the victim's stolen identities on the internet and elsewhere, the co-conspirators used them to attempt to obtain more than $1 million in fraudulent bank loans and high-end vehicles and other goods associated with that. The importance of that is to show you how one single incident can essentially cascade into a multitude of high loss amounts of money, and that can really springboard an investigation for us. So that's why we want the citizens' involvement in this. And so that was a large part of our cooperation with other agencies that we collaborate with, and also our citizens to communicate and report these type of crimes to us. So just wanted to present that as a way that all of this kind of comes together as it relates to identity theft, and how identity theft is really the backbone of a lot of the crimes that we investigate. and how important it is to make sure that we get, we investigate and that steps are taken to mitigate that. The final thing that I wanted to discuss is related to the impersonation that Lieutenant Fishback spoke about in the opening, is that within the past year, we have seen an increase of people contacting victims on the telephone and specifically identifying themselves as CMPD officers. And what we will tell you at CMPD and the Financial Crimes Unit is that no CMPD officer or employee will ever contact you while discharging their official duties to solicit funds or fines or anything of that nature. So if a victim finds himself on a telephone with somebody they believe to be impersonating the police, or somebody that does impersonate themselves as the police, they need to disconnect the telephone call and report that to 911. Something that's just, we want to be very clear about that. It's something that CMPD will not do. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Detective Tawanda Garrison, and she can talk about some of our prevention methods and techniques.
Good morning. I'm Detective Garrison. I'm with the Financial Crimes Unit. Before I get into the prevention measures, I just wanted to point out, Sergeant Green has already discussed the issues that we've seen related to identity theft and unemployment fraud and small business administration loan fraud. I just want to point on a lot of those cases, most victims of those identity theft related specifically to those two crimes, the unemployment and SBA fraud, only learned about being a victim of identity theft upon the receipt of an invoice or mailing document that was sent to their home address, indicating them about how much they were going to get related to the unemployment, and then also with regards to SBA, when their payments were going to begin. So what I want to urge every citizen to make sure you carefully go through your mail. It's tedious, it's time-consuming. You know, we get so much solicitation from different institutions and just different advertisements. A lot of that stuff ends up just being thrown in the trash. But occasionally you're going to get some important documents in there that's going to be an indication or clue that someone has used your information to apply for either a loan or unemployment. So just make sure you carefully go through that and don't just toss it, and then also shred those documents if it's not of any importance. But if it is, if it's related to an account that you didn't authorize, then make sure you follow up with those individual companies to inform them that you didn't authorize use of your information to open those accounts or to obtain those benefits or those loans. And then also file a police report with your local agency. The next thing I want to go to, the only surefire way to prevent your personal identifying information from being used to open accounts is to do the credit freeze. It pretty much shuts down your credit profiles from institutions or merchants from being able to pull your credit report to deem your credit worthiness. So that's what they use to determine whether or not they're going to open an account or give you a line of credit. We have information on the CMPD Financial Crimes page in regards to the credit freeze. Also, there's other agencies like the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. They have information there, and also the Department of Justice of North Carolina, the Attorney General's office. They have information there in regards to the credit freeze, and also there's information there in regards to preventative measures to protect your minor kids from being victimized through identity theft. Thank you.
At this time, I just want to open it up to questions specific to fraud and identity theft for Sergeant Green and Detective Garrison. Any questions? Jamal. All right. Jamal, 1 second for us.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? I actually just wanted to ask the question of how is this actually happening? Are people putting in information, not changing their passwords, or exactly how is this happening?
Can can you give me a specific, like, are you talking about the car loan fraud, or are you talking about?
Correct. So I understand that people were doing online auto purchase process. When you were talking about that, are people putting in their information and just not verifying with the person who they are?
I'll let Detective Garrison work through that with you.
So just keep in mind that all of these systems are driven by consumers, which would be every one of us. A lot of businesses, you know, they're trying to streamline a lot of things to make it faster for consumers to get access to their products and get in and out. I mean, everybody has had that complaint where they go into a dealership and you can spend 8 to 10 hours in the dealership to complete the process. So there's tons of dealerships, financial institutions where they're making it able or giving you the ability to go online to cut down a lot of that time. So when you go online, you're going to submit your name, your social, your date of birth, addresses, telephone number, just the typical stuff that you would do to obtain any loan. And a lot of times you're also, and keep in mind this is all online, you're going to upload any documents that they may request, which could be a driver's license, and it could be a copy of a Social Security card, and all of that is going to be the information of that identity theft victim. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Any other questions this morning from our media partners? Amanda, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I was just wondering if the county has contacted CMPD about the removal of the homeless encampment this Friday, and whether CMPD has gotten direction or made any decisions about how to handle if people don't leave in time.
Okay. And I have Central Division Captain Brad Koch here to discuss that with you this morning. Captain?
Thank you, Lieutenant Fishback. Good morning, everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Brad Koch. I'm the captain over the Central Division. A great question, Amanda. We found out yesterday, shortly before it was posted online on Twitter, about the order from the Mecklenburg County Health Department about asking individuals to leave the North End encampment area. It is my understanding that it is going to be county-driven, county-led, specifically from the County Health Director's Office as well as the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Department. Now, the only time that we would be involved in something is responding to an emergency call for service. If someone were to be out there and they were to call 911, of course, my officers would respond. However, in terms of the removing of individuals or asking them to leave, that is, I would direct all those questions to the county, either public health director or the Sheriff's Department. Hopefully that answers your question. I will turn it back to Lieutenant Fishback.